Good evening, my friends. As we step into the unfolding mystery of 2025, let us take a moment to ponder this. What does it mean to master oneself? Is it to become a commander of your fate, a conqueror of your flaws, or something altogether different? Mastery is often perceived as the ability to control or dominate the various aspects of our lives, our thoughts, emotions, actions, and even the circumstances we find ourselves in. The common view of mastery is that it requires a firm grip, a strategic approach to direct the flow of life according to our will. It's as if we are players in a game, and the goal is to control every piece and every move. However, this idea of control can be limiting and ultimately counterproductive. The true essence of mastery, instead of being about domination or force, is about alignment with the natural flow of life. To understand this, consider the metaphor of a river. The river flows with the force of nature, carving paths through landscapes, touching every rock and every bank. But the river doesn't struggle against the rocks or the twists in its path. It flows with them, adjusting its course without ever stopping. If the river tried to control the rocks, it would be an endless battle, one that could never be won. Similarly, when we attempt to force control over the uncontrollable aspects of life, our emotions, the actions of others, the passage of time, we find ourselves in a constant struggle, constantly exhausted and frustrated. True mastery, then, is not about trying to shape the world according to our desires, but about recognizing that we are part of the flow of life, not separate from it. It's about learning to move with the current instead of fighting against it. This alignment doesn't mean we are passive or inactive. On the contrary, it involves a deep understanding of the natural rhythms around us and within us, and a willingness to adapt to those rhythms rather than impose our own will upon them. Just like the river that bends around obstacles, we must learn to navigate the challenges of life with grace and flexibility. This shift from control to alignment requires a change in mindset. Instead of viewing challenges as threats to be overcome, we begin to see them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. The moment we stop trying to control every outcome, we open ourselves up to the richness of life itself, the unpredictability, the beauty, the surprises, and the lessons that come from every turn. To align with life is to trust in the process, even when we can't see the entire path ahead. It's about accepting that not everything is within our power to control, and that's perfectly okay. One might argue that without control we risk falling into chaos. But the truth is that chaos is part of life's order. The universe itself is filled with forces beyond our comprehension, and yet it operates with remarkable harmony. There is an intelligence to the world that is far beyond our limited understanding. When we let go of the need to control, we allow ourselves to tap into this intelligence, to flow with the current, rather than exhausting ourselves by pushing against it. In many ways, this idea of mastery as alignment is mirrored in the wisdom of nature. A tree doesn't try to control the wind, the seasons, or the growth of its branches. It simply grows in accordance with the conditions around it, finding balance between the light, the soil, and the air. The tree adjusts, adapts, and thrives without forcing its will on its environment. Likewise, when we let go of the need for constant control, we can begin to grow in harmony with the conditions of our own lives. We can learn to be adaptable, responsive, and present to each moment as it unfolds. So true mastery is not about being the master of your environment. It's about becoming the master of your relationship with your environment. It's about learning to listen, to respond, and to align with the natural flow of things. When we stop seeing ourselves as separate from the world and recognize that we are part of this vast, interconnected web of life, we begin to understand that mastery is not an act of willful control, but of harmonious participation in the dance of existence. Clarity is often sought in the external world. We look for signs, directions, or guidance from others in the hopes that they will point us toward truth or purpose. We seek validation from external sources, hoping that approval or recognition will give us a sense of worth or direction. However, this external clarity is fleeting and unreliable. The truth is that true clarity comes not from the outside world, but from within ourselves. It is a quiet understanding that emerges when we stop searching for answers outside and begin to trust in the wisdom that lies within. The modern world, in particular, amplifies this tendency to look outward. We are bombarded with messages telling us what we should do, who we should be, and what we should want. Social media, advertisements, and even well-meaning friends and family often present versions of success, happiness, and fulfillment that are based on societal standards rather than personal truth. We are encouraged to look outside ourselves for the validation that we are on the right path, that we are worthy, that we are enough. But this constant comparison and external seeking lead only to confusion, because external sources of clarity are always changing. What was considered right yesterday may not be the same today, and what seems valid now may prove to be fleeting and transient. True clarity, then, arises from an inner stillness, a deep recognition that we are already complete as we are. It emerges when we stop trying to fill the voids of our lives with external achievements, possessions, or praise. This clarity is not something that can be found by looking harder or pushing forward more aggressively. It is cultivated by learning to quiet the noise of the outside world and turning inward to listen to our own inner voice. It is in these moments of stillness that we find a deeper understanding of who we truly are and what we truly want. This inner clarity is not based on the approval of others or the standards set by society. It is rooted in the quiet knowledge that we are inherently whole, that we are already enough. This clarity requires a shift in perspective. Instead of viewing ourselves as lacking or incomplete, we must begin to recognize that we are already connected to something larger than ourselves. Our worth is not something that can be earned through external measures, nor can it be taken away by the judgments of others. We are worthy simply because we exist. This understanding shifts the focus from striving to prove ourselves to simply being present with ourselves. It is in this state of presence that true clarity reveals itself, like the sun emerging from behind the clouds, gentle and steady. This kind of clarity allows us to make decisions not based on external pressures or fleeting desires, but from a place of deep knowing. It empowers us to live with intention, to make choices that are in alignment with our values, our purpose, and our true desires. When we are clear about who we are and what we want, the distractions of the world become less relevant. We are no longer swayed by the opinions of others or by the shifting tides of external circumstances. Instead, we become grounded in our own truth, confident in the direction we are headed, and at peace with the present moment. In a world that is constantly changing and filled with noise, this inner clarity becomes a compass, guiding us through the complexities of life. It is not a static clarity that comes from knowing everything or having all the answers, but a dynamic clarity that grows as we grow, deepens as we evolve, and shifts with the flow of our own personal journey. Life is often viewed through the lens of problem solving. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that every challenge, every difficulty, and every moment of discomfort is a problem that needs to be fixed. We are taught to approach life with a mindset of fixing or solving, constantly searching for the right answers, the right solutions, or the perfect outcome. But this view of life as a series of problems to be solved creates a sense of urgency, a need for perfection, and a constant cycle of striving that can lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. In reality, life is not a problem to be solved, it is a mystery to be experienced. The difference between a problem and a mystery is profound. A problem is something that implies a solution, something that demands a resolution. It presents itself as a barrier, something that stands in the way of our progress or happiness. A problem is something that we must wrestle with, analyze, and overcome in order to move forward. On the other hand, a mystery invites us into a different way of being. It does not demand a solution, nor does it require that we fully understand it. Instead, a mystery invites us to engage with it, to experience it, and to accept that we may never fully comprehend its depths. When we view life as a mystery, we open ourselves to the richness of experience, to the beauty of the unknown. We stop seeing the uncertainties and challenges as obstacles to our happiness, and instead we begin to see them as opportunities for growth, learning, and exploration. Life, in this sense, becomes a journey of discovery rather than a race to reach some final destination. The joy lies not in the solution, but in the process of engaging with the mystery itself. The mystery of life is not something to fear or avoid, it is something to embrace. It is in the uncertainty, the unknown, and the unpredictable moments that we find the greatest opportunities for growth. When we stop trying to control every aspect of our lives, when we let go of the need to have everything figured out, we allow ourselves to experience life as it is, raw, unfiltered, and full of wonder. It is in these moments of uncertainty that we often discover the most about ourselves, about others, and about the world around us. By embracing the mystery of life, we learn to let go of the need for perfection. Life is messy, and we are messy too. The pursuit of perfection often leads to disappointment, because perfection is an illusion. No situation, no person, and no experience is perfect. When we embrace imperfection, we allow ourselves to be human, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. We stop chasing the illusion of a perfect life and begin to appreciate the beauty of a life that is imperfect, unpredictable, and full of surprises. When we begin to see life as a mystery, we also begin to see ourselves differently. We stop viewing ourselves as problems that need to be fixed or perfected, and we start to see ourselves as part of the great mystery of existence. We are not separate from the world around us. We are an integral part of the unfolding story of life. Just as the stars and the oceans, the mountains and the rivers, the seasons and the skies are part of the greater mystery, so too are we. Our lives are not meant to be problems to be solved, but mysteries to be lived. Living life as a mystery means that we approach each moment with curiosity and openness. We don't need to have all the answers, because the answers are not the point. The point is to experience life fully, to engage with the present moment, and to trust that the journey itself holds the answers we need. We learn to let go of the need for certainty and embrace the flow of life, knowing that each experience, each encounter, and each challenge is an invitation to grow, learn, and evolve. When we approach life as a mystery, we stop seeing the obstacles and challenges as burdens, but as the very fabric of existence. A necessary part of the adventure. Change is one of the most consistent and inevitable aspects of life. Yet it is often met with resistance. As human beings, we tend to seek comfort and stability. And when change presents itself, whether in the form of new circumstances, shifting relationships, or unexpected disruptions, it can feel unsettling and overwhelming. We instinctively cling to the familiar, to the routines that make us feel secure, because in the face of uncertainty, change feels like a threat. However, it is in embracing change rather than resisting it that we find true growth and transformation. The reality is that change is a natural part of the human experience. It is an essential force that shapes our lives, pushes us forward, and challenges us to evolve. Yet we often view change as something external, something that happens to us without our consent, as though we are passive recipients of life's constant shifts. But this perspective is limiting. Change is not just something that happens to us, it is something that we are an active part of. We are constantly changing, growing, and transforming, whether we are conscious of it or not. When we resist change, we create unnecessary friction. It's like trying to swim against a current or trying to walk uphill when the path is sloped downward. The harder we fight against change, the more energy we expend, and the less we progress. We become stuck in the past, clinging to what was rather than embracing what is and what could be. The more we resist, the more we experience frustration, anxiety, and fear. But when we stop resisting and begin to move with change, we tap into a deeper flow that allows us to navigate the unknown with grace and ease. Embracing change requires a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing change as a threat or an obstacle, we must learn to see it as an opportunity. Every change, no matter how challenging, is a doorway to new possibilities, new experiences, and new insights. Change allows us to expand our horizons, to explore uncharted territory, and to grow in ways we could never have imagined if we had stayed within the confines of the familiar. When we learn to embrace change, we become more adaptable, more resilient, and more open to the infinite potential of life. This doesn't mean that change is always easy or comfortable. Some changes come with pain, loss, or uncertainty. These are the moments when it is most difficult to let go of the past and accept the present. But even in these moments of hardship, change offers an invitation to grow. It pushes us to confront our fears, to step out of our comfort zones, and to reevaluate what truly matters. The process of navigating through difficult change can be uncomfortable, but it is through these experiences that we learn who we truly are and what we are capable of. Change is also a reminder that nothing in life is permanent. The world is in a constant state of flux, and everything around us is subject to change. This understanding can be both liberating and humbling. When we accept that change is inevitable, we release the need to control every aspect of our lives and allow ourselves to be more present in the moment. Instead of grasping onto things as if they will last forever, we learn to appreciate them for what they are in the present, knowing that they too will change in time. When we stop resisting change, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life. We begin to see change not as something to fear, but as a natural progression, an unfolding of the story of our lives. Just as the seasons change and the tides shift, so too does life move through cycles of growth, rest, and renewal. Each stage of life has its own unique lessons and experiences, and when we embrace change, we open ourselves to fully experiencing each of these stages. By embracing change, we learn to move with the ebb and flow of life, rather than fighting against it. We begin to trust that even when things feel uncertain or uncomfortable, we are exactly where we need to be in that moment. Change is not something to be avoided or resisted, it is something to be welcomed and celebrated. For it is through change that we find our greatest opportunities for growth, transformation, and self-discovery. Participation in life is an invitation to fully engage with the present moment, to actively take part in the unfolding of your own story, without constantly holding on to the need for perfection or certainty. So often we are caught up in the pursuit of a flawless existence, one that aligns with an idealized version of success or happiness. We tend to view life as something to be managed, controlled, or mastered, believing that we must constantly optimize every aspect of our experience to feel fulfilled. This pursuit can often lead to a disconnection from the richness and depth that life offers in its raw, unfiltered form. When we shift from striving for perfection to actively participating in life as it comes, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of fulfillment and meaning. To participate in life fully means to embrace all of it, the beauty and the mess, the joy and the sorrow, the calm and the chaos. It means engaging with every moment, not as something to be checked off a list or moved through in anticipation of the next, but as something to be fully felt and experienced. Life is a series of moments, each one offering an opportunity to learn, grow, and be present. Yet, when we view life as a problem to be solved, we often miss out on the very essence of it, the aliveness in the experience itself. We get so focused on reaching a destination, achieving a goal, or fixing a perceived flaw that we forget to notice the richness of the journey. Participation is not passive. It requires us to show up, to be present, and to engage with life without the need to control it. In the act of participating, we begin to understand that we are not separate from life, but are an intrinsic part of its unfolding. We are both the observer and the participant, the actor and the audience, simultaneously. To participate fully is to accept that life is not about perfecting every moment or creating a flawless trajectory, but about being actively involved in the flow of experience, responding to what arises without judgment or resistance. This shift from perfection to participation brings with it a sense of freedom. When we let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, we can surrender to the natural rhythms and movements of life, moving with them rather than against them. The pressure to perform, to prove ourselves, or to achieve the ideal dissipates. In its place is the invitation to simply be and to participate in the ebb and flow of existence. The moments of uncertainty, the moments of failure, the moments of joy, each of these experiences becomes part of a greater whole, a larger dance that we are all part of. Participation also means embracing vulnerability. It requires us to step into the unknown, to open ourselves to both the beauty and the discomfort that life presents. It means being willing to experience life in its fullness without the need to filter or control it. In this way, participation invites us to be human, to experience all that comes with it, the imperfections, the contradictions, and the unpredictability. Life does not need to be managed, fixed, or perfect in order to be meaningful. It is meaningful simply because we are here, experiencing it. In participating fully, we also cultivate a deeper connection with others. When we engage with life in an open and present way, we invite others to do the same. Participation is not something that happens in isolation, it is a shared experience. It is through our connections with others, through the relationships we build, that we come to understand the richness of life even more deeply. By participating in the lives of others, we are reminded of the beauty of our own existence. We see ourselves reflected in the experiences, struggles, and joys of those around us, and in doing so, we come to realize that we are not alone in this journey. Participation also requires trust in life, trust in others, and trust in ourselves. It is trusting that even in moments of uncertainty, even when things don't go as planned, we are exactly where we need to be. It is trusting that every moment is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to discover more about ourselves and the world around us. By participating, we surrender to the flow of life, knowing that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. Through this trust, we open ourselves to a more expansive experience of existence, one that is richer, more authentic, and more connected. Ultimately, participation in life is about engagement without the need for perfection, embracing each moment with an open heart and a willingness to learn. It is about showing up, fully present, without the expectation that everything will unfold according to our plans. Life is not a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be lived, one that we experience most fully when we participate in it with awareness, openness, and a sense of wonder. Self-mastery is not about perfection, nor is it about striving for an ideal version of ourselves that is somehow free of flaws or limitations. It is not about transforming ourselves into something we are not, but rather recognizing and embracing who we already are at the core. In a world that constantly pushes us to achieve more, to be better, and to constantly improve, it is easy to fall into the trap of believing that we are not enough as we are. We may find ourselves chasing after external markers of success, validation, or achievement, thinking that they will make us whole or complete. However, true self-mastery lies in the realization that we are already whole, and that the key to mastery is not in the endless pursuit of an unattainable ideal, but in recognizing and accepting our inherent completeness. The quest for perfection often leads to frustration and dissatisfaction because it is based on an illusion. Perfection is a moving target, an unattainable state that constantly shifts as we grow and evolve. It is a concept that is externally imposed and subjective, shaped by societal standards, media representations, and the opinions of others. When we strive for perfection, we set ourselves up for failure, because we are chasing something that can never be truly attained. This pursuit often leaves us feeling inadequate, as though we are never quite enough, no matter how much we accomplish or how far we go. Self-mastery, on the other hand, is about embracing our imperfections and recognizing that they are part of our unique journey. It is about understanding that we are a work in progress, constantly learning, growing, and evolving. It is about cultivating self-awareness and understanding that we are not defined by our mistakes, failures, or shortcomings, but by our ability to rise from them, learn from them, and continue forward. Self-mastery involves being in tune with our own strengths and weaknesses, our desires and fears, and using this knowledge to navigate life with intention and authenticity. One of the most important aspects of self-mastery is self-acceptance. When we accept ourselves as we are, without judgment or condemnation, we free ourselves from the constant pressure to change or improve. We learn to love ourselves, flaws and all, and recognize that our imperfections make us human. It is through this acceptance that we can truly begin to grow and evolve. Self-mastery is not about trying to fit into a predefined mold or living up to external expectations, but about being fully present with ourselves and honoring our unique path. Self-mastery also involves taking responsibility for our own lives and actions. It is about understanding that we are the creators of our own experiences and that we have the power to shape our lives through the choices we make. This does not mean that we can control every aspect of our circumstances or that we are immune to the challenges of life. Rather, it means that we have the power to choose how we respond to life's ups and downs. Self-mastery involves taking ownership of our thoughts, emotions, and actions, and recognizing that we have the ability to change our mindset and approach to any situation. True self-mastery also requires letting go of the need for constant external validation. In a world where social approval is often equated with self-worth, it can be difficult to detach our sense of value from the opinions of others. However, when we rely on external validation to define who we are, we give away our power and allow others to shape our sense of self. Self-mastery involves turning inward and finding validation from within. It is about recognizing that our worth is not determined by what others think of us, but by the love, respect, and acceptance we give ourselves. Ultimately, self-mastery is about cultivating a deep sense of inner peace, contentment, and authenticity. It is about embracing the full spectrum of human experience, with all its joys, struggles, and uncertainties, and trusting ourselves to navigate it with grace and presence. Self-mastery is not a destination, but a journey, a continuous unfolding of who we are becoming, and the wisdom we gain along the way. It is about realizing that we are already enough just as we are, and that true mastery lies in fully embracing our imperfect, beautiful selves. The moral of this message is that true self-mastery comes from embracing who we are, imperfections and all, and recognizing that we are already whole. Rather than chasing an unattainable version of perfection, we should focus on self-awareness, self-acceptance, and taking responsibility for our lives. Self-mastery involves trusting ourselves, letting go of the need for external validation, and fully participating in the present moment. By accepting our imperfections and continuously learning and growing, we can live authentically and navigate life with grace and resilience.